Good afternoon, everybody. It's Bobby Harvey with a very special edition of Train Watching. Now, today, we're in a very different place than we normally are. The Midwest Old Threshers reunion is going on even as we speak in Mount Pleasant, Iowa, and that is exactly where we are right now. The 2024 edition of the Old Threshers reunion. Now, as you might notice, it is kind of a wash right now. Literally, it's been raining for probably the past couple hours or so, off and on. It really just started coming down within the past hour. But we're going to keep on recording. We're going to start watching trains here down by the South Station, and we'll see what we can see. Of course, here at Old Threshers, it's pretty predictable what you're going to see. As you might be able to hear, there's a train departing behind us. Off the lens there a little bit. As I said, it is sprinkling pretty steadily here. So where we're at right now on the reunion grounds, we are at the South Station on the Midwest Central Railroad. The steam traction engine headquarters is just off to our left. And if we pan over this way really quick, we'll be able to see some of the traction engines themselves. And even further over here, you'll actually see the east end of the South Station itself. So the Midwest Central currently is running two trains like they usually do. The one with number 6, the steam engine, just departed. And coming in shortly is going to be the other passenger train, hauled by the diesel locomotive number D9. Now, earlier today, which I actually was able to get some of this on video, they were double-heading. There are two operable diesel locomotives, engine 14 and D9, were operating together on the train that you'll see coming in shortly, pulled by engine D9. They just, like within the past 20 minutes, they just took 14 off of that consist. I was able to get quite a bit of video of that with my actual video camera earlier today. And we are looking east right now. This is kind of one of the main crossings that people go across right before the trains reach the South Station. So engine D9's coming in right now with its train. Here we go. So the train is pulled in the South Station. It's kind of a mixed consist. It has a cattle car, gondola, maroon coach, the brown Denver and Rio Grande coach, which is kind of nicknamed the Quinn car, as it was in the CBS television show Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. One of my favorite shows. Still trying to get through it, but it's pretty neat that that car was actually part of that show. I have yet to get to the actual episode that that car is featured in, but I'm pretty sure it's either the 3rd or 4th season of the show. And then, of course, in the back of the train is their yellow caboose, which was actually built from an HO scale plan that they scaled up to actual real 1:1 scale to make the narrow gauge caboose. Now, most of the passenger cars that you will see on the Midwest Central were built here on the railroad off of the frames of old narrow gauge cars from Southern Pacific, East Broad Top, some of those railroads. And the cars themselves were built new here on the railroad. But the railroad itself is many decades old now. In fact, 1960 is when the railroad started. So even the cars that were built here are actually pretty old now. So as the passengers load on that train, we're going to go ahead and pan back over here and get ready for engine 6 to arrive. So welcome everybody to the stream. Like I say, we're probably going to go for, I was going to go for about an hour and a half with this weather and everything. We'll probably just go for an hour or so, wrap things up around 4. So for those of you just joining us, welcome. Welcome, Brian. Yes, I did my last live stream a few days ago. Had a pretty good reception, so I thought, well, if I have time, if I'm able to do one during the reunion, then I will. So this is pretty much how it is when I'm videotaping my old Threshers videos. You get a run by of the train, and then you wait for the next train to come around, get a picture of it, and then move to another spot, and just so on and so forth. And it is kind of too bad that it's been raining for the past few hours. But if you look to the west, it's going to be clearing up here pretty soon. Probably by the time I end the stream, the rain will be over. But again, I mean, I can still film in the rain with my normal video camera. It just makes things just a little more complicated. You have to be careful where you're pointing the camera, because you might get rain in the lens. I can wipe it off, but obviously not while I'm recording. So after we get number 6 coming into the station, we'll probably do a quick walkthrough of the South Station and maybe a few other locations, and then we'll hit the trolleys and see them go by a little bit, maybe take a ride on them before ending the stream. So it's just about 3 o'clock. I'm gonna plan on going till about 4. We'll see what we can see in the next hour or so. Yes, Brian, I am going to try and get down to the trolleys while I'm streaming. They are, I've actually got some video of them right before I started the stream. Took a ride on 1718 from the left side of the trolley, which I really have never done before. And it was raining as I was doing that, so I don't know how much of that's gonna end up in the final video or not. My plan is when I'm done with the stream, I might do a second round of the Midwest Electric and actually ride the trolley again, get on 320 or one of the other trolleys and try and film out of the right side like I usually do. It's kind of neat filming out of the left side because the track curves to the left all the way around because the trolleys go counterclockwise on their loop, but all the stations are on the right side, so you miss out on getting pictures of the stations themselves. So, we'll see. Now, Thursday and Friday at the reunion are they tend to be slower days, usually. Yesterday was very hot, like heat index of well over 100 degrees. Today, it's been a little cooler, but it's been rainy. Like I say, if we pull the camera back a little ways, it is starting to clear. There's engine D9's train in the depot right now, South Station. So with Old Threshers beginning, I haven't edited a whole lot of my CP 2816 video. I'll be working on that as soon as Old Threshers is over. But the good thing is I've actually started to work on it, so it won't take me much longer to finish. Then I'll jump right in on editing the Old Threshers video that I've been taking. Most of the footage I've taken is probably going to be from today. The footage I get today is probably going to be the majority of the video. But I do plan on filming a little more tomorrow, Sunday, and a little bit Monday. And those days are going to be sunny skies from the way it looks, so. But it is good to get some video in not so favorable conditions, because it really doesn't happen very much at Old Threshers, rain and situations like that. So it is nice to get in your video once in a while the not so favorable weather conditions. Another like 10 minutes or so. There's one in the station right now.
Is that the diesel?
This, yeah, it's the diesel. Steam engine's next. Now, some of you may know I do volunteer on the trains as well as a conductor. And this will be my, oh goodness. I started volunteering in 2006, so that was my, let's see. I missed a couple of years at Old Threshers. 1 year, I guess. 2000, for whatever reason, we didn't come in 2000. And obviously 2020 was the year of the COVID pandemic, but they did not have a reunion. So because of that, this is my 24th Old Threshers reunion. I've been volunteering since 2006, so we do 24 minus 6. That's the amount of years that I've been volunteering. So it helps to, you know, all about the trains. and stuff, so you can answer questions that anybody asks pretty quickly. All right, so D9's pulling out of the depot now, and number 6 will be arriving pretty soon with its train, and then we'll move to a different spot and get him. Maybe we'll get some pictures of him leaving the station. So welcome everyone to the stream. Got about 15 people watching right now. This is the Old Threshers reunion. And the rain, for the most part, has stopped, thankfully. I guess it's a good thing with the way the weather ended up. It's a good thing that I decided to do these live streams. I wouldn't have been able to get a whole lot of decent video with my camera anyways. Make sure there's nothing on the lens there. Number 6 is a few minutes out. And as number 6's train rolls into the station, you'll notice that there are some unwanted guests aboard. Well, unwanted in a way, but the passengers, the paying patrons of the Midwest Central enjoy them because at the North Depot there will be a train robbery, a mock train robbery, obviously. And the train robbers are aboard the train right now. They'll be doing their next show at 3 o'clock, which is right now. So it'll be a little late, but usually they try and get on the steam train. It just makes more sense for a steam engine to be on the front of the train when they're robbed. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get ready to move the camera here. Breeze through the South Station, go to the other side. Pop the camera down here a couple notches. Apologize for the jerkiness. All right, here we go. Hey, how's it going? What's that? You're live on YouTube, Matthew.
1,000,
Yeah.
Where's your wife and where are your kids?
Oh, they're gonna be here later.
Okay.
Yep.
It looks spiffy.
Yeah. So this is Matthew Lapp, guys. Subscribe to his channel. He's got a lot of really cool videos.
Hey, what are you doing?
We're live on YouTube.
Oh. Yeah, hey everybody. Just so you know, like Bobby said, subscribe to my channel. Show your support. Really. And also, on January 6th, 2025, the channel is getting retitled, but I'm not going to explain it live. But the word segment show in the title is no longer going to be there. And also, once the channel has the word segment show, it's being replaced, taken out, it's going to be replaced by one word, and I mean one word,
Oh.
as well as the punctuation mark.
Oh.
So again, find out on January 6, 2025.
Alrighty. We're gonna head on down here, so take care. That's the gift shop down there. So yeah, Matthew is one of the volunteers down here on the railroad. So his channel, Matthew Lapp Segment Show, check it out. He goes all over the country filming trains and tourist museums and a bunch of other things. So in the South Station here, we have some box cars that the railroad got from, well, I don't think it was the Georgetown Loop, but one of the narrow gauge lines out in Colorado. Pretty cool stuff. And we've got locomotive number 1 down here also. Just from the Argent Lumber Company. And for a time, this engine worked with number 6 and number 2 at Argent. Midwest Central may get this thing running one of these years. All right, we're gonna pop out here really quick and see number 6 departing. think the robbers were kind of shooting at that white truck that went around the gate right in front of in front of the crossing gates there. I don't know if you guys saw that or not, but it almost sounded like somebody was yelling at him. He went down as the crossing gates were going down and turned right there in front of the little porta potties. Right as the train's departing. And that's the thing. These, even though these trains are smaller, going slower, they're still just as dangerous as big trains. So you got to be careful around them. So where we're going to go now, we're going to walk down here towards the shops, set up down there, kind of where those flat cars are down there in the distance. Brief little description of what we got down here. So that was one of the yellow coaches. And then we've got one of the Rio Grande flat cars. The other one that they did not turn into a passenger gondola. The other one, the 6206, is one of the open air flat cars they put sides on for passengers to ride now. And we've got some little maintenance flat cars and some small little hoppers for ballast work. Another couple more White Pass flat cars, and there's the White Pass caboose. I believe they were pulling the White Pass caboose yesterday. And 14. And in the shops, I don't think we can see them from right here. Kind of can. I'll walk down a little further in a minute. Is engine 9. The Shay is being worked on right now. And Durango and Silverton contractors are here. They're working on getting 9 and the boiler overhauled. Hopefully it'll be running by next year. That's what I've heard anyways. We're gonna move out of here because this is the area where they blow down the boiler on number 6. And obviously we do not want to be here when that happens. Now years ago, I like to say probably pushing 14 years ago, there was a gentleman down here with a video camera. It wasn't me, it was somebody else. He had this really nice like TV style like video camera. It was a really nice camera, and he set up right down here where I was, and I knew that the steam engines blew down there, but I guess he didn't, because number 6 came around the corner and they blew her down, and his nice camera on his tripod fell over in the mist from blowing down the steam engine. It's like, wow. So I hope that his camera wasn't completely ruined by that, but I'm guessing it was someone who is not familiar with what they do around here. So we're gonna go ahead and set up over here, well out of the way. I actually haven't gotten any video with my actual camera from here yet, so I'm probably gonna get a few shots over here before the day's out. So we'll set up here and answer some of you guys' questions. I know you guys have asked a few questions already. Yeah, guys, subscribe to Matthew's channel. I've known him for quite a few years. He has a lot of good videos. So I think somebody asked in the questions or in the comments what whistle number 6 had. They do have the original. It's not original, but it's the one that is well known here at Old Threshers. I believe it's a 5-chime whistle. 5 or 6 chime, as you heard when they were leaving the station there. Last year, I think it was last year, they had a different whistle on it. And then the whistle that's always on it, I think, I don't know if it's its original whistle or not, but it's, people kind of nickname it like the swamp whistle. It's a very high-pitched, shrill whistle, which I never used to like, but I kind of like it now. It's a different sound, very, very high-pitched. You'll definitely know when you hear it. Okay. Licking our ice cream, walking down the gauge of the tracks. Okay. So the first spot we were, before we walked through the South Station, was on the east side of the South Station. Now we're clear on the west side of the South Station, and over here we have the shop building. Some of the tracks leading into it. And before the next train shows up, I want to show you guys some track that I might have brought up in some of my previous videos, but some of you may not realize this is here. And it's pretty cool. You can see it right there. That is some 3-rail track. Now, you might be wondering why there are 3 rails on this particular set of tracks and why they come up here and then they just end. Well, that is because years ago, before Midwest Central built their current South Station, they had a different pole-style building. It was pretty much the same color as the museum buildings there, and the trains actually went through it. And I can remember it. The first few years we came to Old Threshers, 99, 2001, and 2, that old station was still there. Excuse me. And the trains would go completely through the building. The main track went right through the building. Of course, now some of the siding tracks go through the shed at the South Station now. But back then, the main track went directly through the building. And that was it. That was just the main track going through the building. They didn't have any siding tracks for storage. So there's actually a track. In fact, if I zoom in down here again, past the switch stand, right there where that switch is, and that's really interesting is you've got 3-rail track and a 3-rail switch. It's pretty neat. That switch will actually take the track that switches off there into the museum building, and the tracks are all still in there. The tracks go all the way through the building, and that's where Midwest Central would store some of their passenger cars during the off season. And I can actually remember one time we came to the museums when the reunion wasn't going on, and some of the cars were in there. Actually, excuse me, can actually remember climbing around on them a little bit while my parents looked around at stuff. But that was, you know, a long time ago. Like I said, that was probably 2002 when we went to the museums, before Midwest Central built the station that they have now, which debuted in 2003. Hard to believe that was 21 years ago now. But to answer the question about the 3-rail track, the Midwest Electric, which we'll probably be checking out here in a bit, Midwest Electric is standard gauge, and they stored some of their equipment in the museum building here back then also. So They are standard gauge, but the Midwest Central is narrow gauge. So that is why there's 3 rails on some of these tracks. It allows the Midwest Electric's trolleys to be brought up here and stored in the museum building as well. So in a way, the Midwest Central's engines could probably tow the trolleys out and back and use the same tracks, even though they're different gauges. So that's why there's 3 rails on that track. The first 2 rails on the left are narrow gauge, and then the furthest one on the right makes standard gauge. It's pretty interesting. Now on the other side of the building, the Midwest Central shops, the 3-rail track goes down to the south to connect up with the Midwest Electric. I don't think Midwest Electric stores anything in the museum buildings anymore. The one time we were here back in 2002, seems like I remember there being a red streetcar parked in there. Something they obviously don't have anymore, but and for a while they had the first couple years at Old Threshers were really interesting. And I wish I was filming then, but obviously I was just a kid. But Midwest Electric had another streetcar they don't have anymore. I don't know if they had it on loan or what the deal was, but it was a green streetcar from the Massachusetts Bay Transportation Authority, the T, and it was really neat. It had all the old advertisements in it and stuff. I don't know if it was a PCC car. It might have been, but I only remember riding that in 2001 and maybe 2002. After that, it was gone, so I don't know if Midwest Electric traded for something else or what the deal was, but yes, the rain appears to be gone, thankfully. Now my guess, somebody asked up here, let's see, Troy asked, can number 6 pull the white pass caboose? My guess, they were pulling it yesterday, because I remember seeing it. I didn't get any video yesterday, so I was busy doing other things. But they were pulling the white pass caboose yesterday, and I'm guessing they will probably be pulling it again on one train or another this weekend, because it's going to be nice, and the weather's going to be decent, and the weekend is always busier at Old Threshers. Thursday and Friday are just, probably more local people, because, other people have to work, and then, kids in other school districts are still in school, so not as many people are here on Thursday and Friday, but Saturday and Sunday, Saturday especially, can be very busy. But yes, there is the white pass caboose, and they're not running it today, but I'm guessing that they'll be pulling it tomorrow. And as you can see right there behind the white pass caboose, next to engine 14, there is engine 9. And the Durango and Silverton contractors are working on it right now. All right, we're gonna see D9 come around with its train and number 6, and we'll go from there. There goes D9. Troy says, I have a riding lawnmower that looks like number 6. Wow. I see some pictures of that. That sounds interesting. Now here we can see a better view of the passenger car that Midwest Central looks like they're in the process of restoring. And even though I'm a volunteer with the Midwest Central, I don't know all the answers to all the questions on what they're doing. But notice the trucks are painted kind of a yellowish cream color. It's a nice look. Wonder if they're gonna repaint this that same color. But this car, which is number 303, I don't remember what 303, I think it was just a regular yellow car. Obviously it's getting a brand new end, new frame by the way it looks. But this car has been gutted for a few years now. And right here is one of 2 of the old Rio Grande flat cars that Midwest Central overhauled back in 2008. Now originally they were both like this one here. This is number 6216. They were both just restored flat cars, and they took 6206 and converted it into essentially a passenger gondola. It's like an open air flat car with sides now, so passengers can ride in it. In the first couple of years, or maybe the first year, I think it was, well, they did it a couple years maybe, but especially the year they restored them, they actually ran 3 trains at a time. 2 passenger trains and then a freight train that kind of ran just for fun. And they had like a threshing machine and a backhoe and freight on the flat cars, and then a caboose. And passengers could ride in the caboose. But the freight train would trail behind the normal passenger trains. And so you'd have 3 trains running at one time here on the Midwest Central. So it's pretty cool. And that, of course, was back in the era when Midwest Central had 3 operating steam engines. The first few years I recorded old Threshers videos here, they had 3 operating steam engines, 6, 9, and 16. Speaking of 16, it is behind 14 in the shops. I don't know if you guys can see it down there. I'll zoom in. Yeah, you can see just the edge of the smoke box and the pilot, which is red, behind engine 14. So it's in the shop track right next to 9. Now 16, there's not really anything wrong with 16. It's just that it needs some boiler work. They need to check and make sure the boiler is still solid, probably do some repairs. So I think it was probably getting to the point where it was starting to show some signs of needing work. And at the time, Midwest Central was about ready to get engine 12 from Georgetown. So rather than go through all the work of getting 16 disassembled and put back together, they just decided to literally sidetrack it for a while until they have free time to work on it. And unfortunately, it's been well over a decade now, and 16 has not operated. But one day, I suspect they'll get around to getting the work done and getting it back out. I hope so, because 16 is really fun to watch. Now, one of these days, I will release the full videos that I did prior to 2014. Some of the years, let's see, 8, 9, and 10 were really good years of getting extensive footage of 16 in operation. Because for a couple years, in 2009 actually, number 6 didn't operate because 6 had some boiler issues and had to go down for about a year and a half. It operated in 2008. It did not operate in 2009, and in 2010 it came back with its new boiler repairs. So that year in 2009, 16 ran quite a bit, pulling trains. And it also ran quite a bit in 2010 when 6 returned. Okay, we got a few questions here. Troy sent me a picture of the mower he has that looks like 6, so I'm going to look at that when the stream's over. Now, Tim actually made a comment a while back about the PCC trolleys that I mentioned earlier. He said that the Midwest Electric had 2 green PCC style trolleys and they would hook them together and haul passengers. That's interesting. So I wonder if that red one that I remember seeing in the museum building years ago was the other one. But yeah, the green one that was painted up in the MBTA T paint scheme. That was a neat car. I wish I'd gotten some pictures and video of it. Hopefully it's still operating somewhere. Now, Troy asked, where is the California Zephyr video? Well, I've still yet to start working on it. I wonder, I think that might be a winter project of mine, is to get that video up and going. I have, technically speaking, I have all the footage for it, but there are a couple of shots that I'd like to redo and I'd like to get that I wasn't able to get that maybe I'll be able to get this fall. Trip to Chicago might be in order, but we'll see. At any rate, I'd like to get the CP video that I'm doing now featuring 2816 and then obviously Old Threshers. I'd like to get those 2 videos out of the way first before I think of anything else. But Zephyr is probably going to be a winter 2025 release, tentatively, depending on if I don't have anything else I'd like to work on first. Well, believe it or not, it is already 3:40. So, if you want to get any pictures of Midwest Electric, I probably should get down there soon. I was going to do some train rides, but I might not end up doing that for this stream, because I would like to get some more filming with my actual video camera before the day is out. So after we see 6 go by here, we'll probably walk on down to the Midwest Electric and see what's going on there. Now, earlier when I was filming, they had 3 trolleys running. They had 1718, which is the open air one, 320, and 1945, which is the enclosed Italian trolley. And last year, they were running streetcar 9. And unfortunately, I only got 1 run-by of 9 last year. The streetcar, the little Berber streetcar, Barber, whatever, from the Southern Iowa Railway. And I hope they're going to run it again this year, but I was kind of surprised to see it running last year. I thought there were some issues with it. But it ran quite a bit last year. It's just I didn't happen to be down there filming on the days they ran it a lot. Wonder if they'll bring it out this weekend. Because with the rain, it kind of scared people away, I think, today. So it hasn't been very busy. So there's no need to get more than 3 trolleys out. The only bad thing about that is when you're trying to film them, it takes a long time for the trolleys to come around. And at one time, Midwest Electric was running 5 trolleys at once. That was a constant, stream of trolleys. But 1779 is down for the count right now. It wasn't running last year either. I'm kind of surprised that they haven't been running their work car, 1100. which they converted to passenger use in 2022. I saw it run a little bit then, but I haven't seen it running since then. So wonder if they wait to get it out unless it's absolutely necessary or something. But yeah, it is 3:41 right now, so if we want to get any pictures of the trolleys, I probably should head over there once we see 6 go by. And okay, Troy says they ran 1100 this morning. Okay, well, maybe I'll get to see them run it later in the weekend. I'm glad the rain stopped. Wasn't anything like the storm that went through last night, which obviously I wasn't in Mount Pleasant when the storm came through last night, but back at home, we had the same storm, went through a little earlier, and it was like early in the morning, there was just this humongous clap of thunder. And it wasn't even raining that hard, it was just boom. Wow. I think that was like 3 or 4 this morning, maybe a little earlier. But then that storm came through Mount Pleasant and dumped a bunch of rain here, so it's pretty wet, muddy, but nothing severe, thankfully. And the storm before that, which I don't even think Mount Pleasant got, or they got a little of it, but not much. But Burlington got hit pretty bad. That was on, I think, Tuesday or Wednesday, when that storm went through. Now, a few years ago, there was a pretty bad storm that came through here. It was, I think it might have been tornadic. So there was a little damage around the grounds. Not much, but there was a little wind damage, I think. That was maybe the year before last. I don't know. It was right before the reunion. Might have been 2021. That almost sounds right. That was before the reunion actually started. But that and the recent storms we've had now, that was really the last time that we've had any real significant weather. So a lot of the noise you're hearing is from the traction engine area. Right along the tracks here, they have some miniature traction engines that operate just like the big ones, but they're like smaller. It's pretty interesting. There's so much here. I mean, I could do, if I wasn't videotaping already with my normal video camera, I mean, I could be live streaming all day and you still wouldn't see everything. Well, here comes number 6. We'll see it go past, and then we'll head on down to the trolleys and see them go by for a little bit and probably end things there. Like I said, I was going to start the stream right at 2:30, but the rain was coming down, so that kind of delayed me a little bit. But would have gotten to do a little more otherwise, but hey, got to stream for a little while. So here comes number 6. Steam engine with its train. Alrighty. So that was number 6, Midwest Central's currently only operating steam engine. Tim says he just sent me a picture of those trolleys. Well, cool. I'll look forward to seeing that. And Troy says the storm that we were talking about, the bad storm, that was 2022. Okay, so I was close. But yeah, if I remember right, that storm went through right before old Threshers began. Sean's here. He says, I love trains. Awesome. Okay, we're going to go ahead and head on over to the trolleys, see them run around a little bit before we end the stream. So where we've been is right along the southwest corner of the Midwest Central's line here in McMillan Park at Old Threshers. Let's see a couple run-bys of the trains. As you can see, or here rather, number 6 is heading up to the North Station, and D9 is approaching the South Station. So we're gonna go ahead and head on down to the trolleys, see them go by a few times before we end the stream. I was gonna get the camera on the trains themselves and ride around, but I don't think we have time for that, unfortunately. So I was planning on ending the stream around 4. And I'm still planning on it because I'd like to get some more actual video editing done, or video filming for my big video. Roll the tracks here carefully. So yeah, as you just saw when 6 went by, that is why you don't stand right here, because they blow down the boiler right there. You would be showered with water. Now basically what a blowdown is on a steam engine, it's when you kind of blow out the sediment and some of the stuff that's built up at the bottom of the boiler. You literally blow it out with steam pressure that helps keep the boiler from getting all clogged up. I'm sure there's a more technical definition than that, but that's basically what it is, what it's about. And obviously, if you didn't do that from time to time, your boiler would get all gummed up and then the engine wouldn't be able to run properly. So they usually do it once every round, every other round. All right, we're going to cut on down here. There's the Midwest Central's roundhouse. All right, so here we are. This is the northwest corner of the Midwest Electric line. And as we can see, 1718 is at the main depot right now, the old Yarmouth train station from Yarmouth, Iowa. And the tracks curve and go down towards the trolley barn, which is right down there. And this switch goes into the back of the Midwest Central's shop building. And as you can see, there is where that 3-rail track begins. And goes back into the shed back there. So we're actually going to go ahead and cross this really quick. And we'll get the trolleys. Right up here by this old threshing machine and traction engine on display. And probably what I'm going to do when we end the stream is I'm probably just going to set up my video camera and start filming the trolleys again. Get a second round of them and get some more shots of the trains. And maybe get a few night shots of the trains. Haven't gotten those in a couple years, so. It's a pretty cool vantage point. I usually get the trolleys here at least once every year. I'll go ahead and extend the tripod now. Welcome to all of you joining the stream now. We got just a little while left to go. We're down here on the Midwest Electric now. Go ahead and straighten things out here as I get the tripod extended. Momentarily here. There we go. So earlier they were just running 3 trolleys. I don't know if they still are or not. Like I said right before 6 showed up earlier, I could, if I wasn't already doing filming with my main video camera, I could live stream all over Old Threshers for hours and you still wouldn't see everything. There is so much to see here. Really, the trains and trolleys, they're a huge part of the reunion, but it's just scratching the surface. And you got tractors, you got traction engines, you got old cars and trucks, and you got the log village, which is like, it's like a time machine. I mean, people are down there in period clothing, you know, doing jobs of, you know, being on the frontier and all these different things. And you've got the North Village with the bank robbers and the train robbers and the saloon and blacksmith shop. You got food, you got country music shows, and you got all the museum buildings with all the exhibits in there, steam powerhouse, the printers hall. You've got people performing in there too, music acts. I mean, there's so much to do. And there's antiques for sale. There's there's so much here to do. I actually have my scanner with me. I have the
I'll let everyone know to stop load. Roger, we'll wait for your word.
I have the frequency for the Midwest Central. I do not have the frequency for the Midwest Electric. I'd like to know it, but I tried to look it up and I couldn't find it. But the Midwest Electric, or Midwest Central, runs on 468.200 megahertz. That's the frequency they run off of. Midwest Electric, I don't know. They run off of a different frequency. Okay. If anybody knows the radio frequency for the Midwest Electric, I'd be interested to know, because that'd be a way of knowing when they're getting trolleys in and out, I'm sure. That was Midwest Electric's 1718 open air streetcar. That thing ran on Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Then it came back to the US and ran at a, pretty sure it ran in a museum out east before coming to Old Threshers. Midwest Electric has two, 1718 and 1779. When I first met 1779, it was painted yellow. Now it's painted green. 1718 has always been red, as long as I can remember. So if they're running trolleys in the same order as they were before, the next one will be 1945, which is an old Italian Peter Witt car. So thanks everybody for joining in tonight. This hasn't been quite the involved stream as I thought it was going to be. Thought we were going to ride the trains and do a bunch of other stuff too, but I'd still like to end the stream around 4. We're going to keep going until we see all the trolleys though that they're running. So we might get a couple run-bys of 1718 just to make sure we've seen them all, because I don't know how many they're running right now. Oops. But like I said earlier, the rain that we were experiencing in the very beginning of the stream, that had been going on for a while and just kind of prevented me from starting when I really wanted to. But I still want to end it rather soon so I can continue filming a little bit with my actual video camera. Sounds like 320 is next. Maybe. And then 1945 is behind them. Okay, maybe I got the order mixed up from last time. I'll have to look back at my video to see. James says, there used to be a guy that they called Ivory Chuck that played piano in one of the museums. Well, speaking of pianos, which I think they've had this one at the North Station for a while, but first time I've seen it operating in a while, they have a player piano out on the under the canopy of the station, the North Station by the North Village, and it was a player piano, which really makes you think of the Old West. I got some pictures of it earlier. It's kind of neat when you're waiting for trains to come in and you have the old-time piano music in the background. Sounds like you're in a saloon or something. Now you might be able to hear in the background a train whistle, or in this case a train horn. You can hear the mainline trains going through Mount Pleasant on the BNSF. And when it's Amtrak time, you can hear Amtrak too, coming in the station and departing. Mount Pleasant is a stop on the California Zephyr. And what's really cool is if you aren't from around here and you want to come in on Amtrak, you could come in by train and then take one of the free, I think it's a free shuttle from downtown that takes you right to the grounds. The train station is only a few blocks away from the square where you can get on those shuttles. It might be a good idea for some of you that are from out of state. Come in on Amtrak to Old Threshers sometime. If I didn't already live close enough to drive, that would be very tempting to take the train to Old Threshers. All right, I believe we've got another car approaching. Might be pulling into position too in the second part of, nope, here we go. This is car 320. 320 is probably one of the most fancy cars on the Midwest Electric. It was originally built for the Chicago, Aurora, and Elgin, which ran between those cities in Illinois. Ran from the Loop in Chicago across the Elevated to Elgin on their own dedicated interurban line. I'm pretty sure it ran until 50s, maybe early 60s. And eventually the car ended up, it's an interurban car, 320 is. It ended up on the Southern Iowa Railway, which ran from Albia to Centerville, Iowa. And I believe at that time it was owned by a museum organization, but they let the Southern Iowa Railway use it. Then after their line was closed, migrated over here to Mount Pleasant. It's been operating here ever since. Interestingly enough, the Southern Iowa Railway car number 9, which I was talking about earlier, it was an original car that ran on the Southern Iowa Railway, and it is also here and operates periodically. Troy says the 320 used to be red and white. Yep. And there was a time on the Chicago, Aurora, and Elgin that they cut down they blocked off some of the stained glass in the windows for a while too. Kind of simplified their appearance for just to kind of protect them, I suppose, since without doing a major overhaul to them. But obviously it was restored to its original appearance once it was here on the grounds for a little while. I feel like the Illinois Railway Museum, of course, they have a huge collection of steam, diesel, and electric trains, which of course includes streetcars and trolleys. I'm pretty sure that they have a car from the CA&E that is in the I think it's a red and blue, maybe a red and white paint scheme with the blocked off windows like 320 used to be. I think they have a car like that. And of course the Illinois Railway Museum also has some cars from the CTA, the L system, which they have converted to run off of overhead catenary. Always made me wonder, it would be kind of neat if, of course, it'd be out of the time frame of equipment that they run here on Midwest Electric, but wouldn't that be something if they got a pair of old L cars? That would solve some of the capacity issues. The only thing is, I don't know if L cars can make these sharp turns. I suppose they probably could, because there are some curves in the Loop in Chicago that are pretty sharp. And obviously 320 is a pretty long car and it makes these turns just fine. But that would be interesting to see some L cars here. But the CTA doesn't have very many older ones left. The oldest ones they have operating now are the 2600s, which I think they came out in the late 90s. So that's doesn't really fit with the time period represented here on the Midwest Electric. But believe it or not, that's over 30 years ago now. So the 90s was. So eventually enough, they will be considered historic. Well, we are waiting for car 1945, and I'm pretty sure that is the last car that's running today on the Midwest Electric. Yeah, one nice thing about doing live streams over here is that the cell phone reception is pretty good. I'm getting 5G plus over here, which we can't even get that in Ottumwa yet. But you can get it here. So hopefully you guys have been experiencing a pretty good picture throughout the stream. Now, speaking of the buses that take you downtown, they actually board pretty much right behind us. That little squeaking sound you hear in the background is one of the buses, which they use old Bluebird school buses. Bluebird, of course, used to be here in Mount Pleasant. The bus manufacturer. Now it's something else, but that was actually one of the downtown buses. Interesting traffic right now. And if you can see on the right side of the screen there, we have a Midwest Electric volunteer greasing up these curves so that the wheels don't squeal as much when they're going around the corner. And it sounds like 1718 is coming up after 1945, so this will be our last run by. Yeah, that's something I really wish people wouldn't do, is some people who are camping close by up here, which the campgrounds pretty much begin right past these vendors right up here. To reach their campsites, they will walk down the tracks. Not a good thing to do, especially when you've got trolleys actually approaching. Here comes 1945, the last trolley we have not seen yet. $19.45. All right, well, it is a little after 4. Probably gonna go ahead and end things here soon. So, in the future, I might do this more often at Old Threshers if I have time. Let's see, answer a few more questions here. Nubo said, when I was making a video last year, I got this one shot while riding at night. It looks so good. Well, that's cool. It is really neat getting pictures here at night or at sunset. lighting at this time of year is really nice. And Troy says, I'm a ground train conductor in the old Threshers campgrounds. Awesome. I've only ridden the ground train through the campground a couple times. It's kind of a neat ride. I don't tend to ride the ground train very much because I found that it's actually faster to walk. Sean asks, will you be streaming tomorrow? No, this is the, pretty sure this is the only time I'm going to be live streaming during the reunion, because the rest of the time I'm filming, I'm going to be filming with my actual video camera so I can get some footage for my feature-length Old Threshers documentary that I make every year. So this is probably the only stream I'm going to do during the reunion this year. However, what do you say, maybe, if I have the time, if I get over to Midwest Haunted Rails, would it be neat if I live stream that? That's an idea. So you might stay tuned for that. In the next couple months, I'll either live stream it or I'll film it with my actual video camera and do a little video of it like I did in 2019. So we'll see. So until then, like I said in my previous stream, I'm working on my CP 2816 and freight trains video. I'm working on that right now. CPKC stuff. That'll be my next video that comes out. My feature length videos, normal uploads, long form content. And then after that, I'll get my Old Threshers footage done and get my actual finished video of that up. And then after that, we'll see. So until then, that's about it. A little after 4, so I'm going to go ahead and continue filming with my actual video camera, and the reunion rolls on. So thank you everybody for watching this stream. If you missed any of it, the archive will be up once it finishes processing, so you can go back and watch anything that you missed. And be on the lookout for the actual Old Threshers video, Trains at Old Threshers 2024, providing him when I get the CPKC video done, which will probably be within the next month. It'll probably be, I'm guessing, maybe October, early November, when I get the Old Threshers video out and published. So be on the lookout for that. And like I said, maybe I'll do a live stream during Haunted Rails, or maybe get some footage for that and get it uploaded before Halloween. And of course, all the other videos that I do in the meantime, which probably will include more live streams. So be on the lookout for all that. So until then, guys, this is Bobby Harvey. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. So long.